And our guest speaker this Sunday is a gentleman that I've known for several months now. And to me, he's a man who's been willing to walk down many roads and has shined walking down them. Dr. Raj Parthi, before he was a physician, was a day trader. And I think that's fascinating. And made a lot of money and lost a lot of money, and he'll tell you that himself. And then he became a physician and an anesthesiologist and ran an anesthesiology department for many, many years, and developed an illness and received some treatment and had to have a surgery and had a near-death experience on the operating table, and was a Hindu and went through many gyrations to explore, I think it's still an Hindu, but exploring other world religions, and discovered truth, and has been involved in unity, taking classes and speaking, and is working with Reverend Vicky Elder down in Monterey. And it's just a joy to have him here. He's a joy to work with. He's a gentleman to me that represents Charles Fillmore's I Fairly Sizzle, with all the zeal and enthusiasm I need to do what is mine to do. And he springs forth with a mighty faith to do it. He's just tingles to do things that he wants to do. And I love that about him. Good morning, Raj. Welcome to Unity Center at Davis.
Good morning. You know, I was thinking when you called me Reverend Parthi, you know, when I was working as an anesthesiologist, people used to think that I gave that name to myself because I was going to give them nitrous and morphine, the laughing gas. And so I was wondering, how would Dr. Parthi sound to my fellow people on the journey? Because people didn't believe it. I used to have a nurse vouch for me that I am indeed Dr. Parthi. So my journey here starts on Christmas Eve 2010, when I had emergency surgery for sepsis, severe infection in the abdomen, which was a result of a prior surgery 10 days ago. Because I had been diagnosed with prostate cancer, and that had complications because I was not able to control my bladder. They had to put an artificial sphincter, and that got infected. Now, how I had experienced during this during this surgery, it transformed me totally. The Raj who went to sleep, Raj 1.0, and the Raj who woke up 2.0 were two different people. So how it changed me, I'll take you back to my life before my near-death experience. I was born and raised in a middle-class Hindu family. My father was an air traffic controller and my mother was a teacher. I was an average student, but in my 10th grade, I became very mischievous, started smoking, started drinking, and they flunked my 10th grade. But my mother went to school and she asked them that my son wants to take biology. To become a doctor, you have to take biology. The principal was so rude that he made my mother cry, saying that, do you think your son will be a doctor one day? And to wipe my mother's tears, I decided I'm going to be a doctor one day. And worked very hard, got into 3 medical school. From the worst student, I became the best student. And from there, I came to America as a student in 82. So this year is 40th year for me being in America. It's a great country. My life in America, I went through exams, passing residencies. I did 2 residencies, one pediatrics and one anesthesia. As a pediatrician, I was not making enough money. You know, pediatrics is the lowest paying specialty. So I did anesthesia where I could make double my income. I switched specialties. And long story short, I moved to Bakersfield in California, and I was gradually became the chief of anesthesia at Bakersfield Heart Hospital. I was technically very good, but my relationship with my patients was there was my attitude was, to make money. And then after my near-death experience, I became very conscious of their need. That they are human beings. They have emotional needs too, not just to write a prescription and walk away. I became a very sympathetic, caring, empathetic doctor. So in my near-death experience, I went to sleep, and about 15 minutes later, I saw myself floating at the ceiling, and I could hear the doctors talking, including the anesthesiologist. The anesthesiologist told a joke, so much so that I still remember it, but I can't repeat it because it was not a clean joke. From there, I could also hear the conversation between the surgeons that, oh, he's a bad case and something could happen to him if he was not operated. Sepsis has 70% mortality. And then my heart stopped. They panicked. They started doing CPR. And in the meantime, my consciousness separated from my body, and I saw myself floating near the ceiling. And from there, my consciousness went towards different realms. First realm, I would love to say it went to heaven, it went to hellish realm. And I was very scared. Why am I here? I could hear the souls crying. I could hear the wailing. And then my father showed up. I had a very tough relationship with my father. When I was young, when I was not a good student, I used to get my share of beating, a lot of beating. There's so much so I was not able to go to school that time. That's why I told that story. But here, he was gentle. I felt his love, that he really loved me. He wanted me to become something in life and not waste away my life. And he could not express his love. So he took me like a little boy away from the hellish realm. He took me to a tunnel. I still can remember the tunnel. And in tunnel, I had vision of my past life. In my past life, I was a cruel prince in medieval times in Europe. And I was whipping the farmers, and I was telling my soldiers to whip the farmers. And incidentally, in my present life, I developed severe pain in my right wrist, RSD, complex pain syndrome, which could not be cured. And I had asked forgiveness from the farmers, and when they forgave me, when I woke up, my pain healed and it was gone. So it is never late to ask forgiveness for something you may have done. So from there, I went to a realm which was from the tunnel. I went to a realm which was beautiful, beautiful meadows, and a stream was flowing, and the sun was bright. And I was greeted by two angels, divine beings. I knew about angels, but having been grown in a Hindu family, I didn't know the specifications. They telepathically told me that one is Michael, other is Raphael. And it made sense. Michael is the angel of strength, and Raphael is the angel of healing. So I developed close relationship after my near-death experience with them. I even got statues from Amazon. Amazon has everything. From there, they guided me towards the light. It was like 1,000 suns at the same time, but it was not hurting my eyes. And I felt the presence of Jesus. I felt the presence of Jesus in the light. And I was told I have to go back, but my life will change. So next moment I find myself in the recovery room. And I wanted to go down on my knees to thank God for the heaven experience I had. And my life literally changed. I used to drive very expensive cars. I had a Hummer for my SUV. Then what I did was, I became a different person. I sold my Hummer because at that time I didn't care for gas price. I could afford it, 8 miles a gallon. And I used to intimidate people on the road. If somebody would cut me across, I would just go behind them and the guy would look at a tank coming and just move to the side. And my life literally and figuratively went from Hummer to hybrid. And then I sold my 10,000 square foot house on a golf course and a lake and moved to a moderate size house. And I left my very lucrative career as an anesthesiologist to pursue a spiritual path. But I did not know what spiritual path. It was related with healing. I was told to practice consciousness-based healing, but to discover my path, what it is not, on my own, though the angels guided me. Then I had few visions. I did yoga, I did Ayurveda, I did EFT, and so forth. But nothing was clicking. And then I had a vision to follow Jesus, who gave me the name Michael. So my middle name I took as Michael, Rajiv Michael Party. So I went to a traditional church, the Twin Lakes in Aptos. I now moved to Aptos, California, beautiful community on the ocean. So they baptized me. Would you believe the baptism was in the ocean? They took me to the ocean and I don't know how to swim. So there were 2 guys in front of me, 2 guys in back of me, in case I float away, and then boom, baptized in the name of Jesus. Then I came out, and it was so quick. But I studied traditional Christianity, but it was not still in sync with my feelings. I kept probing more and more, and then I discovered unity, the principles of unity, because the basic principle, God is not anthropomorphic person in the sky. It's not like the painting, where the God is there and the human being is pointing there and God is pointing there, like the both fingers are trying to meet. Growing, I had that concept of God. And God, actually, as a Hindu, we had goddess and goddesses. We had so many gods that one time the population of gods was more than the population of India. There's a God for town, there's a God for a family, there's a God for studies, there's a God for money, there's a God for air. So there is a God for everything, you name it. So from there to discover a God which has no form, that I am God. It sounds very egoistic, but that I am a spark of the same divinity, what is present everywhere, what is in Christ. So I started following unity principles, and I started going to Monterey, Unity of Monterey. And they then did another Veshore ceremony. They called it kind of baptism, and they accepted me in their Unity church. I was so in love with Unity principles, I decided to become a LUT, licensed Unity teacher. And I'm in the process. I've done 2 intensive, 1 more intensive to go, and I'll have to give an exam and I'll be LUT. But that was still not my calling. I've been called to be a reverend, to be a minister, to serve people. So I've applied to the ministerial school. I hope they accept me, and then I will be on my ministerial studies. So when I discovered unity, I discovered 12 powers which were formulated by Charles Fillmore, the founder of Unity, with his wife, Myrtle Fillmore. And Unity was actually started as a healing ministry. You know, when Myrtle got sick and she prayed and she had an epiphany after listening to somebody, I forgot the name, when she started believing, I'm a child of God, I do not inherit sickness. She started talking to her organs and she healed herself of tuberculosis and lived long life. So mind, body, and spirit can heal us. And then I was able to use 12 powers. I developed a practice, some other people, and healing is self-healing. All healing is self-healing. And I healed myself too. I healed my relationships. I healed my relationship with my wife. Now I have the best marriage. The 12 powers are faith, ability to believe and have confidence. And each power is located just like chakras in a different part of the body. It is in the center of the brain, in the pineal gland. Then strength. This is the order Charles Fillmore gives us, but there are different orders. Like in my workshop, I'm going to talk about them as dyads, because Reverend Pearson felt that putting them as dyads, one complements the other, they are more effective. Strength, ability to endure, be resilient and preserve. Love, ability to attract, desire and harmonize. Imagination, ability to visualize, think creatively. Dominion, ability to claim mastery and control. Understanding, ability to comprehend, interpret what you know. Discernment, ability to evaluate and judge wisely. Will, ability to choose, to act, decide. Then there is order, ability to organize, prioritize, adjust. Release, ability to discard, let go, and forgiveness is part of this power. And forgiveness is a very big thing in my method. Because forgiveness is, if you hold resentment, you're burning your own self. Like Buddha said, holding on to anger and resentment is like holding a burning coal in your hand, expecting to throw it at somebody. What happens is you burn yourself. Zeal, ability to be passionate, enthusiastic. It is located in the brainstem. Life, ability to enliven, make whole, and vitalize, located in the reproductive organs. This sheet is available in the chat, like where this is a cliff note of cliff notes, where all the powers are, where they are located. Now, how to, each power can be overused or to be underused and has to be in balance. So I don't think so I have time to go over that, but how do you decide which power you want to work on? And I came up with a method, anatomic method and physiology method. I'll just give a few examples. Depending upon the anatomy, release, forgiveness I talked about, is in the abdomen area. If you're having problems in the abdomen, then your release is weak. If you're having problems with back headaches, then it is zeal. And constipation is release. An eye problem is imagination. Feet and back issue, because understanding is there, it is understanding. Frontal headaches, will, because will is situated in the frontal part of the brain. General headache issues, faith. Heart and lung issues, love. Loin problems, strength. Sexual issues, life and discernment. Stomach issue, discernment, and throat problems, power. This was based on the anatomical issues of the problem. And then you can do it physiologically too. Like cardiovascular issues, you go with love. Love is seated at the back of the heart. Circulatory system, again with love. Digestive system, because wisdom and order are situated near the stomach, you go with these powers. Endocrine system, because it is situated in the pineal gland, you go with faith. Excretory system, you go with release, you want to get rid of all the poison. Immune system is the power, and imagination is the skin. Integumentary system. Muscular system is the strength. Nervous system is will. Reproductive is life, and power. So these powers can be used to energize our consciousness to help us heal. And I have just gotten started with this. I'm actually writing a book, Conscious-Based Healing, how to utilize 12 hours for healing. It should be out in a year's time. And this is the basis of my workshop today afternoon too. And this whole process has given rise to my own mission in life. My mission has become, I heal myself by helping others heal. And in the end, I used to put people to sleep. Now I wake them up. Thank you.